After 120 days of war on Earth, now the new battleground is space. American companies such as Lockheed Martin, SpaceX, and others are now tasked with one specific goal: to ensure the collection of information in real time, both visual and through infrared radar devices. This data is collected for the Ukrainian forces to use for ballistic missile guidance and rocket system operations. This data collection also applies to satellite communication companies such as Starlink. In an interview, the chief of Russian spy agency Dmitry claimed that private American space companies are agents of Pentagon or the CIA. Satellites now provide internet in the war zone Ukraine, and even intelligence is shared. And long-standing friendly international relations in outer space are evolving as a result of the war. Later I will tell you how astronauts from US and Russia are living together in International Space Station despite of tensions between the two countries. As of now, the fight in space has not taken a significant form outside of the internet and intelligence exchange, but it can happen in the near future. War in space is called space warfare. As of 2022, no actual warfare is known to have taken place in space, though a number of tests and demonstrations have been performed. International treaties are in place that try to regulate conflicts in space and limit the installation of space weapon systems, especially nuclear weapons. For decades, the US and Russia have collaborated in space. And right now, these countries are partners in the International Space Station, but this corporate culture is being tested by the backlash among Russian space agency partners as a result of its invasion of Ukraine. Russia on June 3rd launched its first resupply mission to the International Space Station since the country invaded Ukraine. Despite claims that its space agency Roscosmos was planning to leave the space station partnership, which is in collaboration with 15 different countries, and at the same time NASA have said that International Space Station program is continuing as expected. Now let's see how astronauts from US and Russia are living together in the International Space Station or ISS and what they think about the war in Ukraine. Astronaut Muir, who returned to Earth from the ISS last month, said he could see the war unfolding from the orbiting lab, which is about 250 miles or 400 kilometers up. Another astronaut from Germany say at the beginning of the war, the whole country of Ukraine went dark. It was difficult to recognize major Ukrainian land space, aside from the capital Kyiv. But the war was clearly visible to the naked eye, and sometimes events were recognizable. The astronaut noted that he could see huge clouds of smoke over cities. American astronaut Mark landed in Russia without any issues on 30th March, despite rumors that his homecoming would be disrupted as a result of the conflict. And people that have come back to the Earth from ISS said that there is a friendly relationship between astronauts, and Russia is not lagging behind in the space war. Elon Musk said this week that Russia is increasing its cyber attack on Starlink setup that provide internet to Ukraine. Most of the world's communication systems rely heavily on the presence of satellites. Protecting these satellites in space might seriously motivate nations deploying more space-based weaponry. But don't get me wrong, space conflict is way more expensive than conflict on Earth. Dr. Whiteman from US Advanced Space Studies in his research paper said that targeting satellites in space will have a huge financial cost as well as it will trigger lack of communication. And at the same time, USA is providing support to Ukraine. General Paul from the US Cyber Cell admitted for the first time that Washington was supporting Ukraine by conducting hacking operations. Moreover, US President Joe Biden announced that Washington will provide an additional $1 billion in security and assistance to Ukraine. But right now, we should pray that this war ends as soon as possible.